Hello and welcome to Ask Ron, where Ron answers your Closers Club questions each and every week. And I'm Adams. How you doing today, Ron?
Great, man. I'm in the middle of my quick start real estate school here in Jacksonville.
All right. And if you'd like to ask Ron a question, make sure you go to ask@ronlegrand.com or just post it on the RE Closers Club community tab there. First question's from Phil in Texas. Where can I run rental comps for a neighborhood?
I don't know that answer in Texas. Do you?
No, I would say the the rentometer is usually where I direct people, or even if you just go on Zillow and go for rent, and you can look on the map and just look at the neighborhood of houses that are up there right now, kind of gives you an idea. The two best ways I know about.
And maybe one other suggestion: ask Chat GPT.
Actually, yes, that's a great one too. Even on Dreams, they have a rentals estimate on properties there as well. Now that I think of it, so. And this is the same question, or same person, Phil. He asked a question last week and didn't have all the numbers, but now he's giving you the numbers. So he's got this property. It's one of those low equity deals, 29-year term, PITI 1890. They owe pretty much what it's worth. His question is, would seller financing be the best option and shoot for a large deposit, or sell it on a wrap to somebody else to live there that way?
I wouldn't sell it at all. It's an easy purchase. You got to get a contract on it and get it closed. You'll pay the closing costs. And I'd put a lease option tenant buyer in there and hope they never buy. And now you've got yourself a cash cow, is what we're all looking for. Now I'm assuming you can get rent above, that sounds like you can get about $2,500 a month rent. If that's the case, you're $500 or $600 cash flow. So that's what you're looking for. You buy that property, you put a tenant buyer in there, and you forget it. And you get as much down as you can. Did he say the ARV?
Looks like the ARV doesn't have it on here, but I'll correct one thing. His PIT at 1890, he says rent comps, he thinks 1800 is the max.
The rent comps are never the max. Okay. Well, lease option tenant buyers will pay more. And believe me, if it says 1800, I'm sure you can get 2500 out of it, as long as you don't tell them what you want. You ask them what's the most you can pay per month, and then follow that with, really, is that the highest you can go? I was kind of looking for more than that. What's the most you can pay? And then you'll get them up to wherever. And then don't forget my rent program, where we get them to pay over and above their rent into their down payment. By a down payment assistance program is the word I'm looking for. $100, $200, whatever, and that helps cash flow as well. And it applies toward their down payment when they buy. And they lose it if they don't buy, just like they lose their deposit if they don't buy.
He's in Texas, so he's a little bit worried about doing the lease option there. That's
well, I'd worry too if you don't do it with an attorney. You better do it with an attorney, I'm just telling you. An attorney that understands the rules there, and they're not that bad, for crying out loud. They get bad if you don't abide by them. The only problem is you got to put them under a 6-month option, and they don't have to move out if they don't pay. And I just tell them, I'm going to take your deposit, and I got to get you a notice that your option expires in 6 months. But that doesn't mean I'm going to move you out of the house, and I'm still going to apply your deposit to the down payment no matter when you buy. But if that notice is not delivered to that tenant buyer by that date of expiration on the 6th month, you could have a problem, because that's when they come after you and somebody tells them that they can get all the money back and make you put them in the position that they were in when you found them. And you don't want to do that. So you want your attorney to put it in his books to notify them. You put it in your book to notify them so you don't forget it. You put it on Dreams to notify them, and then you won't miss that. And then your attorney will tell you if there's anything else. Now, there are documents that your attorney's going to put in front of you if he knows what he's doing, or she, that he or she will get sold. Then you got the CYA agreement for tenants, and I don't know if you have that or not, but it's in my Quick Start Boot Camp manual. I don't know if that's on Closers Club or not. Do you?
If it's not, I will make sure it's on there after this.
Okay. So don't be afraid of them in Texas just because everybody else is. In fact, it gives you the X on the market if everybody else is afraid of them.
Yeah. All right, Tony and Angie. As usual here, thank you, Tony and Angie. Ron, this question came out of our recent discussion at local RIA about new construction. I know you've experienced both the success and the challenges of investing in new construction over the years. Looking back, what economic indicators or market conditions influence your decision to pursue that strategy?
All right. There's no way I'd build a house right now if I'm in an area where the values are declining. Okay. And I'm in one of those, and most major cities are in one of those as well. There are some pockets that aren't, but very few. So I don't know what the property would be worth 6 months from now. And I could lose all my profit. And I tell you from experience, and so can Al, I just sold my last of my 3 that happened to me. You know, they were renovated, and by the time we got them sold, they were worth a whole lot less. And I mean, little or no money on them just because of that. And that scares me. So I'm not doing renovating any houses right now. And then again, you're talking about building new houses. You better look at the math, Tony, because you're not going to like the math. First question you're going to have to find out is what is it going to cost per foot to build a 1,100 square foot house? And I wouldn't build them any bigger than that. In fact, I'd go for building townhouses tied to each other, 4 to 6 tied to each other. Then you get less dollars per foot to build them because they only have 3 walls, and it's just the economy of scale. So you do that math, and then you've got to look, what are houses like this selling for per foot where I'm at? Okay, and let's say it's $150 a foot. Well, that would tell me I'm gonna lose my butt if I got to sell it for $150 a foot, and I know it cost me $150 a foot to build it. And don't forget, that doesn't include the lot. So you don't, anybody you see building houses right now are big companies that are just trying to keep their people working. They're not making much money building houses at all because of the cost of materials. And it doesn't seem like the dollars per foot that they're selling for is going up near as fast as the materials are. So if you do your homework, I don't think you're going to like the math.
All right, Stephen, does Ron have a standalone real estate purchase option agreement that isn't attached to or dependent on a purchase and sale agreement?
Yes, there's one on the Closers Club.
Yes, sir. All right, and then Berenice in California. I've been putting some time and effort into calling FSBOs. I would like to share my conversations here for guidance or recommendations. Please let me know if there's a better approach. The following is an unfinished conversation I'm currently having. She opens up with, "Hi there, my name is Berenice. I'm wondering if you would be interested or in a position where I make you payments on your home for sale until you're paid off at a later time, but at a full price." Seller's responding, "So you want a lease? I have a note on the property." She answers, "Yes, a lease. What is your payment amount?" Seller responds, "For you to live personally, or you wanted to purchase and don't have the down and financing?" That's all she put there. So,
What's her name?
Berenice.
So Berenice, why do you think that happened? The answer is always what comes out of your mouth is the problem. All right. You didn't sound like you're using my script, for one thing. And there's something you said that created doubt in her mind. And I mean, you don't ever open up with that phrase you use, "Can I make payments on your house?" That's not the way it's worded, right? You get my script, and if you get to the past the first one, because they show interest in something other than cash, your 3 questions are, well, what is the least you could take, and then is that the best you can do? Second question is, we usually buy with nothing down, okay. And the third question is, I assume you're okay with me making your payments until you're cashed out. I would suggest you learn to use those exact words just exactly like they're written on your script that I think is on Closers Club.
It is,
I
for
know
sure.
it's in the
Yes,
boot
sir.
camp manual because I'm sitting here. And learn to do the way I teach you to do it. Those words didn't come off the top of my head. Those words took years to create. And those words work as long as you don't get on the phone and start begging. Yes, you're begging. Begging in a tone of your voice. Begging if you talk too much. Begging if you talk too fast. Begging if you're doing a seminar instead of buying a house. You know, you got a card against all that stuff. Begging when you got the ums and the ahs and the you knows, and frankly, just begging by the tone of your voice. You have to ask the questions in a manner that that sounds like you want the right answer. We usually buy with nothing down, okay? Not, would you please sell me the house with nothing down? You know, I learned that in the seminar or something. No, shut up and use my words and sound like you mean it, and you'll get a big difference in your ability to communicate with people. That doesn't mean you're gonna win them all, that's for sure. Some of them aren't gonna cooperate with you no matter what. So she told you that, I guess that means the lease option. I would have said, no, not really. I'll buy your house and I'll pay your closing costs for it, and I'll make your payments. And then so you selling the house, you wouldn't be leasing it to me. So would you rather sell it, or would you rather I lease it? And let them decide.
Perfect. Well, that was our last question for the day.
That's all?
That's it.
Well, I could have went on a lot longer on that one. All right. Those were good questions today, though. So, you know, with that said, we got any thing coming up that we need to tell them about today?
We do have IPD coming up in August 12th and 13th.
What's an IPD?
Implementation Power Day.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's where you come down here and spend 2 days with Adel learning the dream system and learning how to automate and systemize everything. You do it in class. You don't just learn about it. You do it in class. Bring your own laptop. So it's a great event to be at. So when you leave there, you're going to be systemized.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week.
All right.